Dad wants to do a memorial for my sister at my wedding, but I'd rather she wasn't mentioned. My younger sister passed away last year. She was an adult, but young, and it was sudden. I don't want to go into too much detail, but she made some bad choices that contributed to her short life. She was also not well mentally. She had an extremely tumultuous relationship with my mom and I. Some ups, but mostly very nasty downs, especially during years when we tried to save her from herself. On the other hand, my dad was often idealized by her, and they had a better relationship. My fiancé did not have a good relationship with her either. Her final years and death were traumatic for our whole family. It's especially impacted my dad. Since she passed, my dad has made a point of eulogizing her at every family event we've had to remember her and make sure she was present. It's always been difficult for both my mom and I because I have a lot of intense, difficult emotions surrounding her and her passing. I always cry for hours, and I end up feeling downhearted and out of sorts for days after each one of these surprise memorial events. My dad will be the officiant at our wedding. It's very soon. I only recently learned that he plans to memorialize her during the ceremony and in his toast. I really don't want him to do this, but he's extremely resistant because he doesn't want to pretend like she was never here. I will admit that it is childish for me to feel bitter about someone who is no longer here, but growing up, I had a lot of events hijacked by her causing some incident, and now it feels like it's happening again, even when she's passed. If we had a better relationship, I might have been more okay with taking a moment to remember her, but my dad tends to lionize her and has a selective memory where he's forgotten everything bad. He was shocked when I said I wasn't comfortable with her being mentioned in a speech. Outside of my own baggage, my fiancé certainly doesn't want her mentioned. This is not just a my side of the family event like the previous memorials. I also fear it will bring down what's supposed to be a happy time and make the guests sad or uncomfortable. I want to try to compromise with him by having my mom, he and I wear yellow jewelry in discreet places to remember her. Yellow was her favorite color. But I'm not sure if he'd be okay with this because it's too secret. Long story short, how can I let my dad feel like we're honoring my sister's memory without upsetting my mom, my fiancé, and myself too much to enjoy the day? I'm at a loss, and it's hard for me to approach this objectively. I spoke with my dad the morning. I tried to emphasize that mentioning my sister's passing in detail at the wedding would be very difficult emotionally for my mother and I, would take away from my fiancé's, now husband's, day, and would probably make the guests uncomfortable or saddened. He said he was resistant at first because he's been so afraid of my sister's memory fading away, but that ultimately he understood my concerns. He still wanted her present in some way that wouldn't take away from our day. I offered suggestions that people gave for ways to have her memory present. We decided to have a seat reserved for past loved ones at the ceremony, and an empty seat with a name tag for her at the wedding party's table during the reception dinner. My dad was the officiant as originally planned, and he gave a beautiful speech at the ceremony and a heartfelt toast that was focused on the joy of the day instead of the sadness of the past. As far as I'm aware, everyone at the wedding had a wonderful time, and the only tears shed were happy ones.